Hi everyone, welcome back. In case you missed it, I did 3 videos prior to this about how we started in the cable business, making high-end audio cables. I talked about dielectrics and conductor materials and so on. And I also covered a little bit about how each one of these various dielectrics and conductor materials sound. And I also suggested that the higher quality dielectrics, not suggested, fact, is that the higher quality dielectrics are many times more expensive than the common stuff, which brings us to today's video. We want to talk about is about the cost involved with making custom conductors, custom cables out of them with custom installations and cabling, and then obviously the expense of the connectors and everything involved, the labor, and the fact that we have to make a living at this. So, let's just kind of address that so that people, and I know a lot of people look at this and go, the cable's ridiculous. I can make a cable for, $10, $20. It'll work fine. You're right. There's no argument there. The cable will work. But we're not after a cable that works. We're after a cable that becomes part of the system. It's exceptional. Like the cable that should act like a component. It should be just as critical. And in our end of it, in the high-end 2-channel end of it, it's commonplace for people to spend thousands of dollars on a power cord or an interconnect or a speaker cable. And we're talking people spending $50, $60, $100,000 on the speakers themselves. They're looking for performance, strictly. They really, really, really want the performance. In some cases, it's architectural. They're looking for a particular size or color cable to match the decor. It might be a secondary option, or sometimes it's primary. Same with speakers. I've seen people that buy real expensive speakers because they look like furniture, and they want to use it to decorate the room. We're looking at it from the audiophile standpoint, where, how much the goal in audiophile land, or anyone who's into music, is how much information can I extract from that disc or that file or that album? How can I get to hear more of what I've already heard before? It's no different than photographers buying baller lenses to get the most maximum clarity out of the sensor in the camera. Same with lighting. You spend a fortune on lighting to create a scene to get one picture. You could spend $100,000 on the camera and the lenses and the lighting and the gear to get one photo. This is kind of the same thing. The only difference is you get a continuous stream of music that you enjoy for years. And a lot of people spend years building up systems like this. And they don't necessarily spend it all at one time, because it's a hobby. They're working on it. They're building a system. They're learning in the process. They're learning what they like and what they don't like. You learn what works and doesn't work. And you can do that if you want to DIY things and build your own stuff and try it there. Absolutely. It's great. Teach yourself about how these various materials sound. Teach yourself about what the changes do. All right. What you'll find is at some point you'll reach a point where you can only take it so far. And that's where we come in as a company. We've taken it to the nth level. All right. We have custom conductors made in various iterations of it's either stranded, solid core, various gauges, again, insulated with some crazy dielectrics, made into cables like this, where, you're dealing with 7 or 8 vendors to make the cable alone because no one could do it. And that's where the expense comes in. And not only that, the minimum run involved, where you can't just make me 100 feet of this cable, right? No, we're talking numbers in, 100,000 plus feet of cable. That's money spent that sits on a shelf until the cables are sold. And it's a lot of money. From the standpoint of the buyers of these cables, it's their money. It's their choice what they want to do with their money and their hobby and their lives. If that's not you, if this isn't your hobby and this isn't where you go in that direction, great, no problem. All right, so what I'm getting at is that the argument over how much this stuff costs, when you get into this level of cabling, you can't DIY it. It's not possible. All right. It's not possible to have a particular conductor material and just get it off the shelf. It doesn't exist. It has to be created. You can use something else, but it won't be this. You can't DIY a Kapton insulation. Doesn't work. right? You need specialized machinery to apply it properly and to sinter it and so on. We have very specialized assembly in something like an Illuminata. It's very difficult to assemble, right? It's all purpose built, but from the inside out, from by hand. And it takes an immense amount of time for the man involved with building this to do so. And there's a lot of steps, thousands of steps involved. And it all comes together as a power cord, hence the price. It's basically a handcrafted cord cable, all right, and cord, AC cable, that has specific features that there was no way to do this. We couldn't go to a company and say, oh, just extrude these aluminum particles over this or fill this outer bladder with this 1/2-inch thick shield. I'd be like, can't do it, right? We can't spend hundreds of millions of dollars to create machinery to do it because we're not selling enough of this stuff to be able to afford to do that. We can't make a machine to do it. It has to be done by hand. So when you get into our higher end lines that are made by hand and assembled by hand, by here in the U.S., a majority of what you're seeing is labor. It's labor and the skill sets involved. These are guys who've been doing this for decades, and they have to be paid accordingly. So this stuff is expensive to do, very expensive to do. And cost is, in our case, certainly is commensurate with quality. And this is what people seek, though. They want nice things. People who are going to spend thousands of dollars on a power cord want a nice power cord, a really, really well-made, well-engineered, really great-sounding piece that when they install it in the cistern, they're like, oh, that's nice. That's nice. I like that. And maybe they only like the look of it because it's so huge. I don't know. But bottom line is we designed it to sound unlike anything else out there. So to sum up on all these cables we make is that, sure, you can DIY your own cables. And if you're capable of doing it, do it. And I'm sure you will, because you were not going to spend this if you could build your own, right? But you will reach a point where you can't do what we do. If you were to attempt to DIY something like, say, a cord like this, where you have custom conductors, custom insulators, just the look of it alone, at that point, you're beyond the capabilities of buying materials off the shelf to build this. If you can make your own cables, and a lot of people do, soldering and so on, buy nice connectors, buy good solder, buy good wire, and experiment. Do it. While we're on the topic of price, you need to understand it's not like me and the kids are sitting in the back room going, whoa, look at all the money we're going to make here with these cables. That's not the way it works. All right. I've been doing this most of my working career, and I can tell you that I don't have a castle in England somewhere. All right. It just doesn't work out like that. And the reason is because this stuff is just expensive to build. It's a very small niche in audio, and it's very costly to build stuff this crazy in terms of materials. Speaking of ingredients, these ingredients are very expensive. We're not just going and pulling stuff off the shelf from Walmart or Home Depot and building stuff out of it. Everything in here is optimized, and it all comes at a cost. And it is what it is. In terms of the price of this stuff, we try to be as fair as possible, but it costs us so much to make any individual one cable that we have to set the price accordingly. And there's not much we could do about that. People say, well, why can't you make this superconductor 4 cable for, a few $100s? You can't. You can't. I wish I could. I can't. The material count is just way too expensive. Not possible. But on the other hand, stuff this crazy is exactly what our customers want. That's what they're after. This is what they seek. This is where the demand is. We're building stuff that nobody else has on the planet. And that's what people seek. And we'll continue to do that. We're doing it with headphones now, and we'll keep going. So on that note, I appreciate everyone watching this. I've been humbled by hundreds of thousands of customers over the years. Our customers know us. They love the products we make. We love them. And we're here today because of you guys. So I appreciate everybody who supported us over these decades. And we hope to keep going for a long, long time to come. Thank you. Take care, everybody.